Hey, it's Will here. Thanks for joining me on this video. One of my greatest joys as a coach is helping my clients to create those future goals and dreams and those anticipated feelings and creating that today, or creating it much quicker than them working at it alone. And one of the ways that I do that is, yes, helping them to clarify their goals, but beyond that, it's about adding a sense of urgency. Because if you look at the average person, if you look at how they live their lives, there's not a lot of urgency. I'm 30, and I think for most of my life, until about 5 years ago when I worked with my first coach, I didn't really have a sense of urgency. I'd delay goals, I would procrastinate, I'd tell myself one day, right? And I think a lot of people live this way. So in this video, I want to share a couple of ideas for how to add a sense of urgency to your life. And I hope that this can serve you. So first of all, imagine that you have 3 years left to live, or 5 years left to live. And really just imagine that for a moment. Doesn't matter how you're going to go. Just imagine that you knew how long you have left on this earth. And what difference would that make? It's likely that there's some fear coming up. And that was the case for me when my coach asked me this very question. But beyond that fear, there was like this huge relief of like, wow, like this is going to end. We're all on this ride. We're all on this journey together. And at some point, we're not going to wake up. And to some part of us, that's terrifying. But actually to the part of us that wants to experience and to really enjoy the time that we have, it's liberating. It's a liberating reminder which can really serve us. So ask yourself, if you knew you had 3 or 5 years left to live, what would you do? Where would you go? Who would you want to spend your time with? What would you start saying no to? What would you start saying yes to? So that's my first idea. Second idea is actually inspired from a series called Criminal Minds. I love Criminal Minds. I watched it a lot in my late teens. I've recently got back into it, and I heard this. One of the agents injured his foot. I think he was doing skiing or something, and he said, hey, I was ticking something off of my while I'm still here list. And I really like this. While I'm still here. Often we hear bucket lists. Why are they called bucket lists? Like it's the most uninspiring object you can ever think of. If you know why they're called bucket lists, that's cool. Like, leave me a comment, I'd love to know. So rather than think of them as bucket lists, write a while I'm still here list. So what are all the things that you want to experience and enjoy whilst you're still here? This could be food, this could be travel, this could be experiences. Write all of those things. Take some time out, and it doesn't matter how long you've got. If you've just got 5 minutes on the lunch break, start that conversation with yourself. Write that list. Begin to write that list. If you've got longer, take an hour, take an afternoon to really consider what you want to do. How do you want to live? Be intentional. So many people are just going with the flow, going where they're heading, without really stopping and thinking, like, am I on the right path? Do I want this? Am I chasing the things that I really, really want? So write a while I'm still here list. And the third way that you can add a sense of urgency to your life is to feel grateful that you have a life. I don't remember the exact number, but the odds of you, the odds of me, the odds of anyone being born are something like 1 in 23 trillion. And it's just this huge, huge number. And if you think about it, for you to be here right now, your parents, your mum and dad, had to meet at exactly the time they did. Everything had to go exactly the way it did for you to be here right now. So let's imagine their first date. Maybe your dad was taking the bus. If that bus was late by 10 seconds, perhaps the date wouldn't have gone so well. Perhaps your mum's impatient, I don't know, but you get the picture. The tiniest detail can impact. So the odds of you being born, it's a miracle that you're here. It's a miracle that I'm here. You know, that's just one generation. You think about the hundreds of ancestors that you have. You know, you've got two parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. That compounds and compounds and compounds. And everything had to happen the way it did for you to be here, which I think is pretty incredible. So that's the last idea, the third idea that I've got in this video at least, for how to add a sense of urgency. And I'd love to know, how do you add a sense of urgency? You know, in those moments or times where you're not motivated, or you find yourself procrastinated, you know, what gets you over the line? These are 3 mindsets that have served me and inspired me historically and recently. But I'd love to know your thoughts, so you can leave me a comment. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you soon, and bye for now.